Hey everybody, I'm Tristan. This is Heroes in Homebrew, and I've got a one-on-one game. I put some feelers out for to start a game, and I only got one response. We're going to be playing white box, but it's going to be more of a low fantasy white box, and should be interesting. So I'm going to keep working on that dungeon I was drawing, and we're going to use it in the game. And along the way, I'll talk about the little changes in rules that I'm going to use specifically for the one-on-one game. Let's get to it. Okay, so I'm starting a one-on-one game tonight. And this is the dungeon that I was drawing in the last video. I'm thinking this dungeon is going to be the bottom of a crypt, or the bottom of a ruined church. It's going to be sort of like hidden beneath this ruined church in the town that my player is going to be starting off in. He's playing a cleric, a human cleric, and his mission, or at least the letter that he's gotten from his order, is to investigate this town where there's been some goings on. So we're going to start with, I think we're going to put some pillars here in the first room. So I'm starting off with a pencil, and then I'm going to go over it in ink. Now, if you notice, I haven't put any secret doors or anything in the room, in the dungeons yet. Even though I've inked the outline, I haven't done any of the inside yet. So, because I kind of wanted to wait and decide as I do it, and I wasn't sure what I was going to use this for. So, like I said, this is going to be beneath a ruined church. Now, I don't know if he'll even go down here, but seeing as how he's a cleric, my assumption is that as he comes into the town, he's going to want to visit the church. You know, being a cleric, coming to a new town, it's not unreasonable to believe that his first stop might be the local church, especially since his mandate is to investigate the occurrences of undead. So, I'm just going to draw these statues. So the star in the circle is a symbol for statues. I'm sure there's other symbols for statues and a lot of other drawings, but for now, this is what I'm using. My idea for this map is going to be there's not like going to be wandering monsters or anything, but there are going to be traps. But specifically, the traps are going to be geared towards vampires, and I'll tell you why. Hopefully, my player is not watching this, and if you are, stop, or don't stop. Just hit mute and keep it playing in the background, so I still get those views. But because it's beneath the church, there's not going to be wandering monsters, but I want the traps to be very specific towards vampires. So we got some statues in there, and I think we're going to put some sarcophagi here. All right, there's that room. I don't know about secret doors. I don't think, maybe this one will be a secret. That's not going to show up very well, but whatever. So as I said, right now I only have the one player, but that's not the end of the world. What I'm going to do is we're going to play on heroic mode, which is I heard the rules for this on the Red Caps podcast, and I thought it would work really well. The premise is that we're going to use, for the initiative, he's going to roll initiative every round, and he automatically wins the initiative unless he rolls a 1. So that's easy enough. For damage, the enemies or creatures, monsters, whatever, their HD, their hit dice, is actually going to be their hit points. So if you have a 3 HD creature, that's 3 hit points. So the attacks will be 1d6. On a 1, it does 0 damage. On a 2 to 3, it does 1. 4 or 5 does 2. 6 above does 4. I think the rules that they had for the actual heroic rules are a bit different. Because it seems like it's not based on just all weapons doing 1d6 or 1d6 plus 1 damage. So a 1 to 0, 2 to 5 does 1, 6 to 9 does 2, and then 10 and above does 4. That's what it actually is. But because we're doing d6s and only d6s for damage, I'm just going to change it to a 1 does 0, I'm going to say like a 2 to 4 does 1, or a 2 and 3 does 1, a 4 and 5 does 2, and a 6 does 4. So if he rolls a 2 to 4 or a 2 to 3 against a creature that has 3 HD, it's going to do 1 damage, so it'll bring it down to 2 HD. Now, conversely, it works the same way for creatures, but it comes off the actual damage. So if he's starting with 6 hit points, it'll be the same thing, but it's only going to affect his hit points, not his hit dice. So I'm hoping that will make a significant amount of difference, and I think it should. But again, I'm not anticipating a lot of combat, at least in the first session or two, because I'm expecting there to be more investigation, exploration kind of thing. That is a really crappy star. That's what was that? It was a computer or something. Let's try the star again. That's a bit better. Okay, so I'm actually pretty excited about this game. I would have liked to have a full table, like 3 or 4 players. Also, I would have liked to have been able to play like what I wanted to play, which was a low fantasy game, preferably using my rules that I came up with, at least to test them out and see if they work, you know? This is going to be an altar. It's not going to be a sarcophagus. That's an altar. We're going to have some more sarcophagus here. Again, this is below a church. There's not going to be any wandering monsters. There are going to be traps, most of which won't even affect the player. But, except for one, which would be the shooting wood stakes coming out of the wall. So I'm going to put here, there's going to be a trap. This is going to be the wood stakes. Thinking, yeah, here there should be a trap. That's going to be the sunlight trap. So I'm thinking there's going to be 3 main traps. There's going to be one that shoots wood stakes out of the wall, much like you would have like the arrows or spikes coming out of the wall, but it's going to be wood stakes. There's going to be one that creates magical daylight, and there'll be one that dumps holy water. So the magical daylight and the holy water is not going to affect the player at all. The point of the traps really is to give the player clues as to something that's going to be going on in the town. So his mandate is, or at least the mandate given to him by his order, is to investigate a rumored tomb of a king that died hundreds years ago. And this king at the time worshipped one of the nameless gods that gives their worshippers undeath. So basically you come back as like a vampire or, you know, a zombie or something like that. So the whole point is that when he gets to this tomb and he explores it, there'll be monsters and whatnot, but he's going to find the main sarcophagus empty, which is not a good thing. What he decides to do about that is going to be all up to him. But I'm going to be leaving clues around to say, hey, maybe you should be searching inside this town that you started at. Because ultimately, it's going to be the mayor of the town who's running this town is going to be that king who's now a vampire, etc. But at the same time, I don't want to push into a specific story. So it's going to be whatever the player decides he's going to do about it will be, you know, what happens. And of course, there's a map of the area. There's all kinds of other things for him to explore, other ruins and dungeons and stuff. And also he's going to have this ruined church in the town that he'll be able to slowly start reconstructing over the course of his adventures as he gains money. So that should be fun. And I think in here, because there's going to be an altar, there's going to be another trap there. Actually, I'm going to put it right after the door. There's going to be one in front of the door, it'll be daylight. One after the door is going to be the holy water. I'm trying to sort of confuse them. So this is going to be sort of like a burial site of all these clerics that have, over the past hundreds, thousands of years, have been combating the undead in this area of the world. Now, the concept of the world right now is that it's essentially sort of a newly discovered continent, or relatively newly discovered. Humans have come from the west and discovered this continent. It's kind of like if you think about, say, North America in the sort of 17th century, 1600s kind of thing. There's trade of different animal hides that aren't found in the West, and, you know, gems and stuff and gold and whatnot going back to the West. And the East this continent is largely unsettled and unexplored. There's a couple of there's like one large city with a port, a couple of smaller cities, and then a village or two and a fort on the far eastern boundary. And there's mountains, and beyond that is pretty much unexplored. So it's anybody's game out there. So I think, for the most part, this is pretty good. I'm going to put a chest in here. There's not a lot in here. It's mostly just, you know, spiders and whatnot. And for the actual tomb that he's going to be exploring, I'm going to be using a Tomb of the Serpent Kings, which is a sort of a starting adventure to get people into the OSR style of gaming. If you're not familiar with it, I believe the PDF is free on drive-thru-RPG. It must be, because I'm pretty sure I got it for free, or it's very cheap. It's like $2 maybe. And that I'm going to be using that, but I'm just going to be changing the thematics of it a bit. Okay, so this room's kind of empty. What am I going to do in this room? We'll put another altar here. The other thing is, in this sort of crypt under the church, if he even discovers it and goes looking at it, as he's going to find a journal from one of the clerics. All right. So I've penciled out where I'm putting some stuff. Now it's time to ink. I just got to find the right one. I want my 0.05 millimeter. No. There we go. All right. First I'm going to ink the statues and other stuff, and then I'm going to start doing the floors. I probably won't get through all of it in this video, but maybe enough to give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like when it's finished. I've been drawing a lot of maps lately, and I'm getting to realize, at least for myself, that hand-drawn maps are just so much better. At least for me. I like the aesthetic of hand-drawn maps, and I like the sort of the look of them, because it's sort of a look that you can't really get if you're using like a program to create your map. Conversely, if you're, going to be playing on a virtual tabletop, like on Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds or Foundry or something, then yeah, I would just make it in a program. That way I can import it in and it's good to go. But for a game like this, even though we're going to be playing online, we're using Discord, I still want to try and keep it as, low tech as possible. So I'll probably be using Owlbear if I need to show them references and stuff. I mean, I could do that in Discord, but it's going to be a lot of theater of the mind unless I really need to use a battle map, which I don't really foresee. I mean, one person, it's probably not that tough. And again, because I'm doing it with one person and just myself, it's going to be, like I said, going to be more focused on sort of the exploration of things as opposed to the combat and whatnot. Let's use this one for the secret door here. It's gonna be kind of weird. He's gonna open it. It's gonna be there's a door here, and then you got the secret door here. So it's gonna be like open the door, and it's a hallway leading to nothing. He'll figure it out. And if he doesn't, well, too bad. But yeah, I've been drawing a lot of maps. I've been trying my hand at isometric maps, and it's been going really well. I'm kind of loving the isometric maps. Thinking maybe on one of my next videos I'll do an isometric map. They look cool. They're not like really playable. Like you could use them as a battle map, I suppose, but for me, I don't think I would. But it doesn't mean other people can't. pull that down a bit. So. And then, yeah, so that's it. I'm really looking forward to this. It's been a while since I've played any tabletop games, any like tabletop role-playing games. As much as I like making videos about them, and I read the books, and I draw maps, and I do planning, and all of this, the opportunities to play are becoming few and far between. Which I was kind of surprised. Oh crap! I screwed that up. Oh well. I was kind of surprised that I didn't have any takers to play. I guess maybe not. I put a post on Roll20. See if anyone wanted to play Basic Fantasy on there. But again, Roll20 is very 5e, and if you're not playing 5e, good luck. I think that's all of it. Yeah. Okay, so do I have a... Hold on, I gotta find an eraser. Ta-da! So I got all these pencil lines. I'm just gonna erase. Or try to. Hopefully not make too much of a mess. It's funny how you go over the pencil lines and it looks kind of messy, and then you erase them and it looks like everything's nice and neat. The other thing I like about the hand-drawn maps, like not even just my own, like if you go and you look at things like Dyson Logos maps or anybody's maps, who they like draw them and put them on Facebook or whatever. Like I've put a couple on Facebook and people seem to like them, so that's cool. It's that they're not perfect. You know what I mean? Like there's always that little discrepancies where it's not perfect and it looks like it's drawn by a person. And I kind of like that because it kind of gives you that in-world feeling of, oh, somebody else sort of drew this as they discovered it. You know, like if you look at these lines, the lines aren't smooth, the lines aren't all straight and smooth. But it looks pretty good. Alright, we are going to use... I think we're going to use a 0.01. Now is the long part. This is the, not strenuous, what's the word I'm looking for? Tedious. We gotta do all the floor lines. I don't know if I'm just like shaky or what, but even my floor lines aren't straight, which is fine. So, like I said, we're playing white box. And the reason I'm not playing with my rules that I showed you guys in a previous video, which I'll link to here, somewhere, is after that I would like to have a full table. You know, like I'd like to kind of try out all of the classes and how they work and whatnot. But this will be fun. I like the white box. I could have easily just gone with Basic Fantasy. For me, it's kind of a toss-up. They're both very similar games. There's just something about white box that I kind of gravitate towards more. I don't know what it is. It might just, honestly, it might just be the size of the book. It might just be that digest size that I like. Okay, so you see here I've got all the squares, they're not touching. And then we're going to start making them pop a bit. Little rounded edges. Now they're going to start looking like actual floor and not a not a tic-tac-toe board. I don't even go on TikTok. I don't know why I said that. So embarrassing. So he's going to, whether or not he finds this dungeon, I don't know. The reason I'm doing this is because, honestly, I drew this dungeon in the last video with you guys. So I figured I'd continue it with this one. So all of these outlines I'm doing with the 01 pen. I don't know, I think it's millimeters it means. I'm not sure. I'm not an artist. But the details inside of the tiles I'm going to do with the 005. So I want to be able to get some really fine, sharp details in there. And I think that'll be it. Again, when this is done, I need to try and get my scanner working. My scanner's not working right now. So I want to try and get the scanner working so I can create a Dropbox and put these in the Dropbox if you guys want to use them. Alright, so again, doesn't look like much. But now I'm going to start filling the rest of this in. At least, not the rest of this, but these squares. I just want to show you guys what I do to make the squares look sort of more, I don't want to say realistic, 'cause it doesn't look realistic, but more weight to them, you know what I mean? Like there's just, it looks like they're there and it's not just lines on a page. So let's start with this one. This is going to be, it's going to have a crack. Just two little lines like that makes it give it look like it's sort of used, a little scuffed up. And then this one will have another crack. That one's kind of shattered in a couple pieces. So just these little things, like just a little line on the inside, another hash mark there. Gonna thicken up this line here. So just that, you start getting the feeling that it's actually there, you know what I mean? There's that one. Now you can leave some of them with nothing on it. They don't all have to have a mark on them. Got little scratches, whatnot. So just that. You see, it's a little more detail to it. I'm just going to go over these sarcophagus. Right. See, even the sarcophagus, I'm giving them that little line on the inside just to give them a little bit of implied detail. It's not actual detail you're getting on it, but it's got implied detail. So you're just looking at it, you'd be like, oh, okay, there's something to it. And it should stick out more than the tiles, just because they're a different shape. This one, I'm going to put a little crack on it too. Alright, so I'm going to continue doing that. Like I said, I finally got a game going. I'm excited for it. I'll let you guys know how it goes. If you want to use those rules that I talked about, the heroic combat rules, you can check out the episode on Rencap Diaries. I honestly cannot remember the number of it. I probably should have looked that up before I started this, but regardless. And also, but the rules originally came from Kevin Crawford's Scarlet Heroes game, so you can check it out in there. I'm going to continue doing this and finish it up, hopefully for tonight's game, if I even need it. I mean, my player's not going to see it. It's just for me, really. But that's it for me. If you guys have played a one-on-one game, let me know in the comments below. It'd be cool to hear. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I know I don't say it in every video because I figured you all know what you're doing. If you like what I do, you're going to subscribe. If you don't, then you're not going to. That's fine. That's it. So I hope you guys have a nice day. Save a seat for me at your table. Bye.